Hello everybody, it's Sylvie. Welcome or welcome back to Tarot Magpie. I hope you are doing good. I've got a tag video for you today. I'm doing the Tarot Academy Awards tag. This was created by Sylvia at Fairlight Tarot. Great name, obviously. Hers is spelled differently. She made this last year, I think, and did it again this year. I didn't have a channel last year. I think I started my channel like a little bit too late to hop on this last year, but I'm joining in this year. There are a couple of prompts that I am not using because I just didn't really have anything that fit them too well. But aside from that, I'm going to get straight into it. I've filmed a lot today. It's rambly. I'm going to really try and keep this one concise. So prompt number one is Best Screenplay, a deck with a great guidebook that stands out in a sea of boring little white books. Before I show you what I've actually picked for this, I wanted to give you some contenders that were disqualified. The book to the Eldritch Overload. This is the Eldritch Overload Codex. I love this deck. I love this book. It's D&D. It's bright, it's colourful, it's fantasy cyberpunk. I really like the book for this, with the tarot interpretations. I like all the world building. I like the D&D compatible module. But this was disqualified because this is sold separately from the tarot deck. And equally, this absolute beast of a book, which barely fits in frame. This is the Terra Volatile guidebook, which again, really trying not to set on fire here. Why do I film with a candle? Gorgeous, fully illustrated with images from the actual deck, images from inspiration, as well as alternate cards. We've got descriptions of the card meanings. Terra Volatile is a deck that comes with lots of alternates. So here for death, we've got somewhere we've got the actual death image, and then rebirth was an alternate, and the misery collector was an alternate. So it's got info for each of those cards. It's got a fifth suit, which it's got info for. Like you can see here, there's alternative cards. I love this. Once again, not sold with the tarot deck itself. You have to buy this separately. These are both indie, this and the Eldritch Overload, which by the way is also shiny, so big props for that too. But this one is expensive. This book is about the price of another deck, I think, if I remember correctly, so not cheap. And so for that reason it was disqualified. The deck that won this award is the Bonefire Tarot, which I'm trying not to knock things off my desk. I have a walkthrough first impressions playing with pairs extended cut on my channel. That one was a long one, so if you like long videos, it's the one for you, where I was going through this deck. So the Bonefire Tarot, this is the second edition. I don't know what the book for the first edition is like. I don't have it, but first of all, it's huge. It's real chunky. We've got some colour illustrations, but they don't take up half the feckin' book. I'm so torn on those, Llewellyn does them all the time, those big glossy books, but half of the book is just imagery of the cards, and on the one hand it's lovely to get that glossy full-size image, you can really see the detail, but on the other hand I'd rather have less space and more words. Anyway, the reason I love this guidebook, and I think it's such a good guidebook, is because there is lots of explanation included for every single card. It's not just the majors that get good treatment, although they do get a lot. Here we've got the Empress has the best part of, I suppose, the best part of 4 pages. What is that, 3.5? And I can't count, let me be. There's so much info for each card. We've got some basic kind of keywords and interpretation, and then this Bonefire Says bit is describing the actual artwork that is on the card, which is what I want to see in a deck like the Bonefire, where there is so much artistic license with the original Rider-Waite-Smith images, because I want to know why everything was chosen, especially something like this where it's been drawn from scratch or created from scratch. Every single element in the card was put there on purpose. It's not a photography deck where there might be things included in the backgrounds of the image that were not intentionally added as symbolism, or even like a collage deck where you're maybe using parts of compositions that already exist. Everything drawn in this image of the Eight of Cups was a decision to add. So I want to know why everything is in this image. This is actually quite a traditional Eight of Cups, but it still does the explanation. Here it says like this Eight of Cups is the Hermit. And we've got here a reference to Android's dream of electric sheep. Like, there's a lot of explanation. And then also, this is so cool that this guidebook does, and I've not seen another one do it. We've got symbols, so cherry blossom, mountain, red wine. And then at the back, there's a glossary of the symbols and what those symbols mean. And I just think that is so cool. Like, do we have the cherry blossom in here? Yeah, cherry blossom, Chinese good luck, Japanese self-sacrifice, fate. So that adds something to the Eight of Cups interpretation. And there's also a lot more of the artist's like thoughts on the deck, thoughts on the tarot, thoughts on the artistic process. I think there was a cool spread or two in here as well. Like, this is just, it's such a good guidebook. It's such a good guidebook to the Bonfire Tarot, which I am going to be working with in Aries season. It's going to be my daily pull because I just feel like I have not given this one nearly enough attention. I haven't given the guidebook nearly enough attention. And like, this is just, I could not ask for more from a guidebook than the artist's thoughts and reasons for including everything that they've included, because like, I know the basic Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. I've got those down. I want to know like about the deck I'm actually reading. So I cannot sing its praises highly enough for the guidebook for the Bonfire Tarot. Okay, the next category is Best Special Effects, a deck that is visually out of this world. And I kind of struggled with this one because I have a lot of beautiful decks, but in the end, I went with the Ritual Tarot. This is the marked edition that was kickstarting last year, and then I got it from an indie shop in December. And the reason I chose this one is obviously I think it's beautiful, and I did a walkthrough of this one as well, so I'll link to that. Oh, this is just one of my favourite cards in the whole deck. This is Ace of Pentacles, or Ace of Coins. I think it's coins. No, it's Pentacles in this deck. I love this image. I think it's so beautiful. I want this in like a full-size art print. I don't know what it is about it. I just love it so much. But anyway, I love the artwork. I think it's gorgeous. And I also thought that with specifically the category of like special effects, I thought a collage deck just made sense to choose rather than like a straight up painted or illustrated art deck. Because like this is kind of, it's closer to special effects, you know? I think I have both Lust and Strength in this deck. I do, because Strength is this one. And then this edition came with the Lust card, and I have both in here for some reason, but I just think they're gorgeous. But yeah, like this made sense for special effects because there's a bit more craftiness that's gone into the creation of this deck. It's not just the creation of art pieces, it's a special effects kind of thing. So that made sense, and I do just think it's beautiful. I was tempted to go with a like sci-fi kind of deck, but in the end, this one. Where's my other favorite card? I pull out the Ace of Pentacles and the Princess of Cups every time I go through this deck on camera because I just think they're such gorgeous images. They have like absolutely captured me. Where is it? They have absolutely captured me, and I can't get enough. And like, not to be like, oh, the deck was worth it, the cost of the deck was worth it for these two cards alone, because I wouldn't say that. Oh, it's close, you know, there's just, oh, there's something about them. Anyway, the Ritual Tarot Marked Edition is my special effects category winner. And also, I think, like, the fact that it is this, so the Marked Edition, if you're not familiar, if this deck has passed you by, as you can see, there's no titles on the cards themselves. They're tucked into the card back. So we've got Eight of Swords here, Wheel of Fortune. It's hidden like a marked card deck for doing like magic tricks with, and so that also kind of fits with special effects. So that is my special effects deck. It is the Ritual Tarot. It's so beyond gorgeous, and every time I pull this out for a video, it sits on my desk for like a week because I just want to read with it and nothing else. So moving on. Okay, so next category is Best Costume Design, a deck that shows outstanding attention to details. And I've gone with The Woven Path, which was a Kickstarter that I backed in 2022, and it came to me in, I think, September last year. But I think you can buy it of its own, you know, right. And the reason this is my attention to details deck is okay, gripe out the way, I kind of would rather have just had better cardstock and none of the details that I'm about to mention, but it is what it is, and what it is gorgeous. But like, we've got the gold foiling on the sides and the card backs and the box, and it's actually two different shades of foiling. Like, there's this kind of gold, copper, and then this bronze colour. It goes nicely with my nails. These nails, by the way, they are too long to function, and I'll be honest, these ones are press-ons, and they are coming right off after I finished filming this batch of videos because I cannot do anything in them. But the other detail that I really like is the spot gloss on each of the card fronts. I think it is, like, can you see that reflection? Like in the horns? I think it's so much more subtle than having foiling on the front of the cards. But it really adds something special to them. So there's like those details, the kind of design details of the cards themselves, and then the art style is also very detailed because it's based on or inspired by medieval tapestries, which obviously are very intricate pieces of art themselves. So a lot of the cards have, okay, you can see in like the backgrounds, and there's a lot of patterning. Like, they've taken on that kind of very detailed style. I don't know why that word escaped me. Like, a lot of them are very detailed. And also, as you can probably tell, this is a collaborative deck. It was created by 78 different artists. You can see each artist's names on the front, on the card itself, which I really appreciate. And it's really cohesive as a deck, which suggests to me that the curators of this deck really paid attention to the details when they were like briefing the artists, maybe, or I don't know the process, but when they were collecting the art from 78 different artists for this deck, I think they must have really paid attention to the details as they were doing that, because this is managed to be a really cohesive deck. Like, there's one or two cards in the whole thing that I think feel kind of out of place. And the rest of it, I just think it works really well, even though they're really distinct art styles. Like, say, like these two are quite distinct art styles to me. Like, there's a lot more line work, and this one's a lot more like painterly. But the deck works. This is a Seven of Swords that I really, really love. And I'm going to go through the whole deck at this rate, but I just really love it. That's a gorgeous King of Swords. That's staying on top. So that is the Woven Path. Oh, actually, do you know what else? While we're here, I don't know if this really counts as a detail, but I like it, so I'm going to talk about it. There is also 13 additional Zodiac cards. And this is the same artist as the Orion's Animal deck, isn't it? Which I'm talking about in another video that I'm filming today, which I think is going up after this one. Because the Orion's tarot deck is one that I want, and I'm doing a video of decks that I want but I don't have yet, so look out for that. I'm completely sidetracked, but yeah, we've got these Zodiac cards as well, and like, that just feels like a little extra added detail. You could kind of read this as a, I don't know if you could call it a Minchiate if it's not Marseille pips, but anyhow, that is my attention to details deck. And like, the box, like the physical upgrades to your basic tarot deck are just so good in this one. like I say, I would honestly rather have like a tuck box and better cardstock because I'm like that, but I can't deny that it's absolutely gorgeous. So that was my best costume design. Okay, best photography is our next category. A deck that has achieved an outstanding result in capturing the images. And that's not true. I do have a photography deck. I have the Naturescapes, but that didn't fit for me in my brain. So I haven't got a photography deck. What I've chosen is the Tarot of Aphrodite. This, like 2 editions came out last year in the same year, but this is the first edition. And it's a curated art deck. And it's also gorgeous. Like, just can we take a moment for all the pink? Oh, I love it. I just love all the choices. And I think, obviously it's not photography, but if we're kind of taking the spirit of an outstanding result in capturing the images, I think that the creator of this deck did an outstanding job in choosing images that really convey the meaning of the cards. And I love this justice. It's like holding a mirror up. I say this every time. It's one of my favourite justices ever. And I'm a justice. I'm a Libra, and also it's my birth card, so it's important to me. But anyway, so I think this did a really good job in capturing the tone of the different card meanings and choosing different imagery that made sense for the theme of this deck, and also just for a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot system anyway. So this is my outstanding photography, or best photography. And so yeah, the reason that Naturescapes didn't win this category is because although it is a photography deck, and so that would have fit the prompt more neatly, that's also a curated deck. It was made from like stock images, I think. So it feels the same in my brain because they're both curated decks, and I thought this one just does such a wonderful job of capturing the images and capturing the spirit of the cards. So that is the Tarot of Aphrodite. Prompt number 5 is Best Actor, non-gender specific, in a leading role. A tarot deck that is most prominent in expressing human nature. Alright, so the 5th spirit is my best actor. And it just had to be. And I am realizing that the non-gender specific part of this prompt also works quite well, because Tarot Beyond Binaries is one of the taglines for this deck, but that is not the reason I chose it. I chose this because I think this is so good at expressing human nature. This is a deck that I talk about all the time. This is the Hay House Mass Market edition, by the way. I talk about this all the time, so if you've been here for a minute, you've probably heard me wax poetic about this deck. But I think it's fantastic, and even though it's more pippish in the minors, I think it still does a really good job at expressing human nature, more so than like just 6 cups would. It's got more meaning behind it, and it feels very human. These are, human, here we got 2 sixes. These are situations, or these are collections of things that have been gathered by humans. It's not like a nature-based deck or something else. Like, this is a very contemporary deck in that sense, which isn't my favorite kind of tarot, and I've definitely spoken about that before. But like here, the 8 of Wands and the Rocket, but like it's very human. It's very contemporary. I can't think of a better word, but like a person has to light this and organize them and set it off. It's not just like, I don't know, lightning or something. So that is the 5th spirit. This is my best actor deck. Best at expressing human nature. Like this 9 of Cups with the plinths and things and the different kinds of cups and the champagne glasses. Love it. This is one of my favorite 5 of Pentacles. I think the more this is something I've been thinking, I'm going on a tangent now, you've been warned. So the 5 of Pentacles was one of my like problem cards, or just tricky cards when I was first getting to grips with tarot years ago. And I've been revisiting what my problem cards were for a blog post series that I'm working on. Cheeky plug. I have a website, I have a blog, go check it out. And the Five of Pentacles was one, and so I've been revisiting why and revisiting what I think about it now, and I think this is one of my favourite cards, but I'm doing the aces first. So anyway, I will link to those when they happen. I don't know when this video is going up, so it might have already happened, but I digress. The fifth spirit is my best actor. There was another best actor prompt for an oracle deck, but that is one that I'm skipping because I don't really own any people-y, human-y oracle decks, except the Reclaim, which is a feelings deck, and that might seem like the obvious choice for expressing human nature, but I don't think emotions necessarily equal human nature, so I'm not even sure that I would agree with that in a kind of being very nitpicky about what I mean by words. So anyway, I gave this category a miss. So moving swiftly on to prompt number 7, best documentary, a deck that excels in portraying the everyday life. And again, I don't like decks that are too contemporary, so I wasn't sure which category to put the fifth spirit in, and honestly it could do both, because human nature and everyday life I think are there's a lot of overlap there, but in the end I put fifth spirit as my best actor, and then The Way Home is my best documentary. So this deck is not super contemporary, but it also kind of is, and the reason I think this is the best, or okay, let me be extremely clear, the reason I chose this as my best deck for portraying everyday life was the 9 of Pentacles, which I'm going to be honest is the reason I bought this deck. Oh, isn't it beautiful? Like, I liked all the cards, but this was what piqued my interest in this deck and is the reason that I kept coming back to it, was this 9 of Pentacles. I think it is so gorgeous. I'm pretty sure that when I did my favorite cards from each of the minor arcana series of videos, which was a VR to Livy at Crescent Dreams Tarot, and honestly that series of videos I feel does not get enough love on my channel, and just as a series of videos it was such a cool idea. So like, they're a year old nearly, but go watch mine, go watch Livy's more importantly. I really enjoyed doing that video series, but this is one of my favorite 9 of Pentacles cards, and it feels like everyday life. Like, it's food, it's a Ferris wheel, it's like, it's everyday stuff. In a similar way to the fifth spirit, I won't lie, like I say, that could have worked for this prompt, but it feels, the imagery and the color palette and the white space feels very spacious and expansive, but not in a way that isn't also mundane. I don't know, there must be a word that I'm just not thinking of, but like, you know, it's wine glasses, it's everyday stuff for the most part in this deck. The quartz are really cool, but if there's a word for like expansive but in a familiar way, I would like to know what that word is, because that's what this deck feels like to me. Like, it's everyday life. This is very much, I do pull this on like a daily basis. I use this a lot for just like regular daily readings, just to get like a general vibe check on myself. Like, I use this a lot for very mundane kind of readings. It works really well for that. And I've run out of things to say without just repeating myself because I can't think of the right words. But yeah, The Way Home Tarot is my best documentary, is a deck that excels in portraying the everyday life. I feel like you do just get a lot of everyday moments in this deck, or at least that's what it evokes for me. Like, again, here with the 10 of Pentacles, like, it's a big meal. It's a big, you know, it looks like a fancy meal or like a wedding or something, and like matches burnout 10 of Wands. Like, I feel like it portrays everyday things, and it feels expansive in the sense that, expansive maybe isn't the word. It feels everyday, but it feels non-specific, and that's the best I can do. Prompt number 8 is Best Director, a creator that has shown outstanding results in the coordination of the entire production, from cardstock to art style to guidebook. And for this one, it's the Lilifer Tarot Gold Edition. And since the award is for creator, technically this goes to Marion Costentin, but the deck is the Lilifer Tarot. And like, first of all, the way this came packaged, this was a Kickstarter project. I backed the deck. I didn't back any extra rewards. I think there were some stretch goals that were met. So like, but it came beautifully packaged. It came with like extra little bits and pieces. Like there is this yes, no coin, which honestly it sits on my like Hermes altar. But there was like a little postcard print. It came with this fold out sheet of like astrological magical correspondences, which I actually have on my wall because it looks cute. It came really beautifully. The production quality of the deck is fantastic. We've got this, it's called the Gold Edition because of the gold foiling on the cards, I think, but like the box is lovely. This is some of the yummiest cardstock. This might be my favorite cardstock in my collection at the moment. It's so nice. The backs are beautiful. It's little, like, it's just gorgeous. The art style is obviously stunning. I mean, well, that's going to be up to personal interpretation, isn't it? But I think this artwork is stunning. I love this hanged man. I think it's beautiful. I think the art style is beautiful. I like that we've got gold on the front and the backs of the cards. But we've got the astrological correspondences as well. We've obviously got the elemental symbols. I think it's beautiful. I think the details in the, not in the artwork as such, but the details that take it from just like an art piece to a tarot card, like things like the astrology and the numerology and stuff, like that was done really well. And then I also really love the guidebook. This is the perfect happy medium between like a little white book and something bigger and more substantial like the bonfire that I showed earlier, because this has, for the card entries, like we've got a little image, we've got the associations, we've got an affirmation. At least for the majors we've got an affirmation. We do not have an affirmation for the minors, but we've got like little associations. We've got upright and reverse meanings, and we've got upright and reversed for all of the minors. And it like, that's all you need. Like that's the little white book stuff, is just keywords. But then there's also all this extra stuff at the front, which I just really think is it's so nice to have. So we've got the elements and what they mean, elemental dignities, the zodiac, and some like element herbs, stones, associations and things for the different zodiac signs. There's some numerology stuff in here, planetary symbols, and then there's like sacred colors, and also I think there's some, yeah, sacred symbols, which you can then use to read in more detail the images on the cards depending on what symbols show up that are in here. Like it's really nicely done. The spreads in here are also really nice. I've used not all of them, but like I'm so impressed with this deck. And like the amount that you get just in this, it's cute and mini. So I just feel like you get so much in just one little box. And I'm very impressed. I continue to be very impressed. This deck is in my spring spoilers, because that video is going up in a couple weeks. I'm batch filming. But this is in my spring deck assortment. Yeah, it's fantastic. And also this wasn't even expensive. This is one of the cheaper Kickstarters I've ever backed, so I was extremely pleased. The penultimate prompt is one that I'm skipping. It is best movie in a foreign language. And since I don't have any foreign language decks, I have nothing to put in this category, so we're moving swiftly on to the final prompt, which is best movie English language, a deck that excels in all the categories presented and that is awarded for lifetime achievement. So, any guesses? It's the Terra Volatile. I feel like such a cliche of myself. I love this. I couldn't not, okay? I love the Terra Volatile. You know this. Like, I feel like the Terra Volatile, the fifth spirit, they had to be so obvious that you'd see these pop up in this video because I love them a great deal. Excels in all categories. Yeah. Cardstock. Yummy, delicious, linen, I love it, lovely to shuffle. The artwork, stunning. I love the details in the artwork of this deck. This was a contender for the most, what was it? Costume design with outstanding attention to details, because I love the details that are included in the artwork. I know this 10 of Wands, again, I'm plugging that favorite minors series. This 10 of Wands went in my favorite Wands cards video because I love this like numbering. It just adds so much to the interpretation of that card for me. Like I love it. The details in this deck and the artwork speak to me. And as we know, the book is also fantastic. Although I couldn't justify comparing it to a little white book because it has to be bought separately, but I can't deny that it is a... Oh, my copy is signed because I pre-ordered. I knew that. Like, it's fantastic. So although this did have to be bought separately, it is a fantastic book. It's a fantastic resource. I love, like I said with the Bonefire, I love to see why the specific imagery was chosen and why the specific symbols were included, and we get that in the guidebook. It's speaking directly to these images. Yeah. And like I've said before, this speaks to me. I know what this deck is saying. It is speaking my language. It is speaking directly to me. Not to be like, this deck was made for me, because that's a bit obnoxious. But I used this for my soul reading. I've forgotten what that tag or what that reading was called. Finding the soul or making the soul. It was a reading from a Rachel Pollack book that was making the rounds on YouTube as a tag, I want to say back in the summer. And I did that video, and this was the deck I used for it because it is the closest thing I have to a soul deck. I'm not sure if I would call it that. That feels like a big commitment. I don't know if we're ready for that yet. But like, it's so good. It just had to be. It had to be the best movie of my collection because I genuinely... Do I have no complaints about this deck? I love to complain. Maybe I have no complaints about this deck. He looks smarmy, but the Nine of Cups always looks smarmy, so I can't really complain about that. The other thing about this deck is that it came with a bunch of alternative cards, and then I also got the expansion to it, so I have a lot of alternative cards to choose from, which is partly why, so that feels almost like cheating. That's partly why it's like as close to a perfect deck as we're going to get, because I could pick and choose for a lot of the cards. But yeah, I've talked about this so much. We're going to leave it there and I will let you go. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I really hope you've enjoyed. Thank you again to Sylvia at Fairlight Tarot for creating this tag. I will of course have her original video linked in the description. Go watch it if you haven't already. Let me know what you would have put in these categories, because it was actually quite tricky to choose, because I don't know, like some of the wording, like I said, like the human nature and the everyday life felt quite similar, but also not. So like, let me know what you would have picked and what you would have gone for, because I think this is a really interesting one. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you've enjoyed. Give me a like if you liked it, and thumbs up if you haven't already. What? No, subscribe if you haven't already. A like is a thumbs up, Sylvie. But anyway, thanks for being here. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.